but y'all just went off on that wild ass tangent. So, all right, Charlamagne did the town hall with Kamala Harris.
Yes.
Thoughts?
No, what are your thoughts? Because you didn't even see this happening. You thought it was impossible, nigga.
Yeah, I said in my gut, and it didn't happen.
Your
She
gut,
didn't go to the
what did
Breakfast
you eat
Club.
that day that like kind of influenced that opinion? Because you know your gut.
Probiotics.
Oh, where you had good bacteria in your gut and you still made poor decisions? That's crazy.
Vitamin B3.
How good was that bacteria if you were still making poor decisions?
It was technically I was right because he didn't go to the Breakfast Club.
Well,
Because he didn't go to the Breakfast Club.
She didn't
You're
go to the
right.
Breakfast
He
Club. They didn't go to the Breakfast Club.
I mean, but now you're reaching for straws. You know what you
I'm
meant.
not reaching
when-
for too much of anything. It wasn't even called the Breakfast
did it
Club.
at
It was called Town Hall at iHeart.
Yeah. What channel did it come out on?
iHeart.
No, what
Breakfast
channel?
Club.
The
What
Breakfast
channel
Club
did it come
channel.
out on? And it came out on the Breakfast Club. What is
That's
that?
good-
What
that's
did that
good.
sign behind him say?
That's because iHeart doesn't drop any. They don't drop shit like this on their main channel.
But
Yeah.
what does the
Where
sign
else was it
behind
gonna
his
go?
head say?
It says the Breakfast Club, but there was no Breakfast Club intro either.
Also says an audio thing. So what else it says?
There's also an audio experience.
Yeah.
Thank God they had the video because when I first saw audio experience only, I was like, "There's no
Whoa,
way.
Yeah.
There's
that'd been
no
crazy.
way.
Yeah.
You're taking us back in time. There's
Nah.
no way you're doing that.
I need to see your face.
Yeah, niggas have to see something. Like that was
Yeah.
crazy to me. But thank God it wasn't that, and it was actually a video that we can watch. I would have had to download the iHeart app. Like I was thinking, like just when I saw it, I was like, how much work I have to do just to get to this shit now?
Yeah,
like,
they wouldn't have made it that
yeah, bro.
that inaccessible.
Yeah,
That's-
that was crazy.
That'd be stupid. But I feel like overall, it was cool. It was cool. Of course, we wanted to see like Charlamagne just talk to her alone for 90
Well, one of
minutes.
the-
Charlamagne gave her the right amount of pushback, the right amount of like
None, you
grace. There were points in time where he was like,
No pushback.
it wasn't completely just no pushback. I
Yeah.
think he did enough to where it's like people from both sides could come and try to learn something. Because that's the thing with Charlamagne, he's in a weird position, is that in my head, I put him Democrat, but he said something else. So it's weird just seeing him talk to somebody who I feel he really gets along with.
I know what you're saying.
So you're the problem.
Who?
Not,
Him as the viewer?
Yeah,
Not
because of like all the
well, it's
perception
really-
that's built up in his head.
but it's not my it's from what he's shown me.
well, and it's
Right.
like
I feel
And
like
I'm not- and
I feel
it's-
like even what this interview showed me, because this whole interview felt like let me do you a favor, because he started it off with, you know, there's a lot of people with misconceptions about you. So let's just go ahead and just dispel some of these right now. This is a let me do you I'm doing you a favor. Like let's just I'm on your side. Let's get out the way all the things that niggas are wrong about.
And which is, look, I think it's cool, kind of.
But the conversation they've
putting-
been having the last couple of weeks on Brilliant Idiots was,
Yeah.
she needs more interviews that humanize her and make her look more regular and less of that. This was not it.
I think he tried to.
I don't think he tried at all.
I think
everything was scripted.
I think he had a different
down to
game.
down
Like the
to all my
statement-
homeboys coming in asking questions.
the statement, let's clear all these misconceptions, is a very like, the ball is in your court. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I'm
that
here
is
to
that's a
help you.
lob. That's a lob.
That's allowed for you to do anything you want with it.
It's kind of like when Piers Morgan was talking to Andrew Tate, and he was like, "I'm just going to bring up some of the shit you said, and I'm not even going to say no. I'm just going to read it, and you tell me what you meant."
How do you feel?
It's like a temperature check kinda
What was
thing?
that about?
A temperature check. Thank you, white man.
Yeah, perfect. His HVAC is broken.
Yeah.
It's on his mind still. Is it
Yeah.
fixed yet? It's fixed.
Yeah.
That was months ago.
Yeah, we talking
Yeah,
about
that was at the beginning of the summer, man.
Oh, you know, everything blurs together sometimes.
yeah. When your
Beginning of this.
HVAC broke.
These
Oh, nigga, that was like
these Sundays
last year.
add up.
It might have been. Yeah, that was last year. Yeah.
Without hot water for years?
Oh, you talking about hot water? That shit was this summer, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I
my
know
hot water-
something
my
happened.
hot water
You said
heater.
AC though.
AC,
Oh,
oh,
you said
HVAC.
HVAC.
My
you
bad.
said
I'll be more
HVAC.
But you
precise.
fixed
Yeah.
HVACs, right?
I can a little bit. And my hot
little
water
bit.
He was in
heater,
a- yeah, that
I
was
fixed my
different.
hot water heater. I had to fix that. I
Yeah,
fixed that
that.
though.
Yeah.
That's the thing with service jobs. Like, if any of y'all niggas ask me, like, yo, just come look at my lawn, see what's like I could do about it. I'll fix it like he can fix his HVAC.
Right.
No, you wouldn't. You would have to go to work and get your tools, nigga. You don't just have shit.
Yeah, I had to buy my shit. I got my shit.
Oh, you had to buy it?
Yeah, I had to buy all my tools. I got my shit at the crib right now.
Useless.
But this was perfect for what they are, for what Charlamagne brands himself to be. Because, you know, even on this podcast it happens, but a lot of times
I want you to tell
motherfuckers
me what the branding is too. after
motherfuckers
that.
throw some. Well, I mean, that's a part of proving the point. Motherfuckers will throw superlatives at a nigga and put him in a box and just claim that this is what he is or what he wants to be. The only thing I've ever heard him say was that he wants to be a voice and he wants to be like a mirror, or not a mirror. What's a better one? An amplifier, a megaphone.
A megaphone.
For the average everyday man. Because when you do radio, you're talking to the people who are commuting to work. That's America. Those are like the average citizens. So even the fact that it was set up like a town hall where the whole community can come and address comments, grievances, concerns with a presidential ear that they'll never be able to speak to, it's perfectly on brand.
It's on brand, but that's the thing. Charlamagne hasn't done the best job of staying in the middle. Like sometimes he'll teeter over the edge to the left. And like when you're claiming
they call him left leaning.
And I feel like
I feel
when I see Charlamagne talk to Republicans, when I see him talk to Republicans, it's a completely different vibe.
Completely. I'm here now. I'm really trying to get
and
you.
Maybe that's because of Angela Rye. You know what I mean?
Even when
she's doing most of the barking, but
who are the Republicans that he's had beef with?
It's not about beef. It's about
beef.
It's introduction and how you present yourself
the
towards
last
the person.
Vivek Ramaswamy one was he got mowed over in that one.
He got mowed over, but that's a different thing to what you're saying, right?
No, we're saying the same thing.
You're not talking about a nigga coming in and getting washed politically.
I'm saying I'm saying just the vibe of like, this motherfucker's really on this Republican.
Yeah, like he's antagonistic, right?
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Sarcasm.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, who does he do that to? Does he do that to anybody?
Mainly.
No. Not anymore.
But so you better be fair? You never fair.
Yeah, because go ahead. Does he do it to anybody? He doesn't. He didn't do it to anybody.
What, that snarky like type of...
he's not really doing that no more. He does it the most to Republicans now.
Exactly.
Right now. Yeah,
and that's really the only people he does it with.
That's it. Honestly, that's about it, yeah.
Who are these Republicans?
When I say Republicans...
Every Republican that goes up there, Byron Donaldson, Vivek Ramaswamy.
That's not even a real person.
It's not Donaldson, it's
I know
Donald.
you was trying to say, but you make shit up now.
Every Republican that's been up there, he's tried to have smoke for them, and it just didn't. He
didn't have smoke for Brian. Angela had smoke for Brian.
He tried to help her, and it just wasn't working. The whole thing was.
When you ask questions, there's a certain way to ask a question where you know exactly where the other person is coming from.
I know where this vein is coming from, for sure. Yeah.
Especially when you're professional like Charlamagne. Charlamagne's a professional. Let's not get this confused.
Oh,
he knows how he's been doing this long enough to where it's like the public is going to view this is that, but he still leans in that way. Whether it is to put the Republican candidate or the pundit in a position where he can defend himself or her, he still does it. You know what I mean? And he just doesn't throw the same type of lobs like how he does with Democrats, like how he does with Republicans. And I even put a video. Sure don't. Yeah. Did you watch?
That's what's so crazy about
this nigga. This nigga, he's just successful in his career, and I called him this nigga. But he's a pundit too, and his name is Devory Darkins. I don't know if you ended up watching his content.
Yeah, I ain't never heard of that.
But oh my God.
He's like
Darkins.
He's Olay. He's the nigga Olay.
Okay.
In terms of like just being hard on his stance. He might be Caribbean or some sorts, you know, one of them type of niggas. But
from the equator,
he had a completely one-sided opinion. Was that Kamala completely embarrassed herself
on this.
This interview lost everything for her. Not everything. It's another interview that she did, but he had some words to say. Lauren, if you want, if we was going to go to it, just leave it at like 1:30. Good white boy. But nah, I mean,
that's insane.
AJ, how you? Yeah,
crazy.
I had to. AJ, how do you feel about it? Did you like it? Because you haven't given your opinions,
that's
nigga.
Fucked up.
No, I didn't like it. I thought it was trash. But this is what I expected too, though. Like for him to not, even though they've been having the same conversations on Brilliant Idiots over the last month about what we all think Kamala needs to look better to the public, to entice voters, he did not provide that. He provided a scripted interview. The whole thing was, does this sound like you want to like drink a beer with her after you watch this?
I don't
think that a town hall is the format to humanize somebody.
It's not. But that's what I'm saying is.
So doesn't that mean that wasn't the goal? Like just because he's saying she need to go do interviews where she humanized doesn't mean she got to do that shit with me.
And I feel, are you subconsciously connecting what Andrew did with Donald to this situation?
Nope.
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm just saying, like,
if it is subconscious, he wouldn't know what's happening.
That's true, actually.
But
yeah.
well, yes.
But I'm not though.
I'm just asking that because, like,
He is.
but
I'm not.
that's for the
though.
viewers to
No, I've been pretty consistent.
But I'm just saying,
I've never been a fan
because
of Charlamagne political
We're
conversations.
also talking.
So like, if he did his
He can't
to
do
me,
Andrew's version.
To me, Charlamagne. Yeah, well, he can though.
He could,
but he refused. He can't. He won't.
because he takes it more serious from what
I don't even think
from
it's
what
that
it seems.
I don't even think it's that he takes it more serious. It's just that's not who's padding his pockets right now. So he's not going to do it.
What do you mean by padding his pockets?
Padding his pockets, as in like he's a Democratic shill. So he's going to do what they want them to do. What they want them to do.
But that's one of the things about calling a nigga a shill. Is like, how do you prove it? How does he leans?
By
he
their
obviously
behavior.
leans to the right.
You're right.
Does that mean
you're
he's
right,
getting
you're right.
paid for it?
No.
So
Well,
why is it the case when another nigga's doing it? That's what I'm saying. It's like,
it's different when you get paid for it.
but is he getting paid for it? That's what I'm
Yes, he's
asking.
getting paid for it.
Who is paying Charlamagne?
We're
to that?
attributing. I think you're attributing his status to like some sort of like money being given,
Monetary gain.
in-
I'm actually not. I'm
Which in
actually,
terms of,
I'm
like-
actually attributing it to when you do things for that side pays you. That's what I'm talking about.
I'm giving you credit in the sense that if you're this big, if you're the voice, you don't have to say certain things, but you got to lean a certain way.
Come on,
you know
man.
what I mean? And that's
Can't get up here and like actually give you pushback, because anytime that he actually does give Kamala pushback, real pushback, all she has to do is say Charlamagne, and that's it. It's over. There's no more pushback at that point. Once he same thing like the last hardest pushback that he gave her was on the TV show, the the God's Honest Truth.
Yeah.
I think it was the God's Honest
Yeah.
Truth when it happened. Long story short, that was the most he's ever given her. That's never gonna happen again. Never.
There was you. So you didn't see any pushback at all in this town hall ceremony.
No, I saw a bunch of organized conversations.
You didn't see any pushback. Did you see a little pushback? Because I saw subtle pushback.
I saw-
I saw like respectful. Hey, maybe not.
I saw when you try to go there, I saw the shutdown too.
what I saw was, look, in my opinion, Charlamagne is smart enough to talk to a politician, but almost smart enough to debate him. Like, he's not fully a professional in the sense that he's just going back and forth giving numbers and shit on some Piers Morgan type of time. He just has enough information to, give his viewpoint.
Yeah.
So I never expected, to our point, like just
our point.
well, to your point of like just a fight back. But
I didn't either.
he did exactly what I
been-
thought he was gonna do. Throw bad lobs, because bad lobs show the talent.
Yeah.
You get what I'm
okay,
saying?
Yeah.
And that's where I was like, that's what I was expecting from Charlamagne.
Yeah.
I want to see her catch some bad lobs, see what she could do with it.
But we also got to see her talk to members of the community, which I thought was cool because he had a couple people come up, and I was trying to remember some of the names, but he had some real legends come up and asking her questions and shit like, what's the nigga name? It start with a Z from fucking Atlanta. It was a couple of them.
I'm not even gonna add like,
I can't even remember, but they raised a lot of good questions and concerns that like she just had to answer on the spot.
which is, and I don't know how I feel that Charlamagne didn't ask those questions, because a lot of them were basic in a sense.
Yeah.
Basic in a sense
I'm with you, nigga.
that he could have asked them, but also to what you said of like the idea of the town hall. It's a community. You got people calling in, asking questions.
They would
It's
never
the
talk to
people.
them.
It was a nice choreographed 1 hour.
What they were
conversation.
trying to bring, I think they did a good job, but I would have loved for it to just be like a, enclosed conversation.
An actual conversation.
It was a conversation.
It was a conversation.
It
was a conversation. You just obviously didn't like it, but you're not built to like it.
I didn't like the choreography.
and I'm not. Well, hold on. I'm not saying it was the best.
I didn't say it
Okay.
either, but he couldn't like it.
he did,
Even
okay,
if it
yeah.
was good, he couldn't like it. And
Yes, I
everybody-
could. I'm dying for the day that he does a good political conversation. I'm just waiting on that day.
But it would have to be phenomenal for you to call it good, which is
No.
where like the
No,
inherent.
it would just have to be good.
then you don't think this was good. This was this is good. And it's literally
if I was in the middle,
like
if I was in the middle, this would not convince me to lean one way or another. And then there was even that
a lot of what people said, not to cut you off, but a lot of people got turned off by this.
Exactly.
A lot of people.
It's not received.
I heard some people get turned on,
but that's Kamala's fault, right?
It's also the orator's fault.
Also
it's a part of his fault, but Kamala hasn't been likable anywhere.
And it was his job to make her
You
likable.
think if she would have went on Flagrant, she would have been likable?
I don't expect her to go to political analysts. I don't expect her to go to Piers Morgan. And after her conversation with Piers Morgan, I'm like, I kind of fuck with her. I expect that from Charlamagne though. Because that was what made him great as an interviewer. And none of those interviewing skills are translating over to these political conversations.
Yes, they are.
The personality part isn't. Just the organization and structure part, that part is.
Yeah.
But not the personality.
In
that
terms
part
of
is
like him shooting more shots during the interview?
Him being an actual person and not a robot.
And asking
and
real
not
questions,
reading and asking real questions and not reading off a paper. And not running from pushback.
Did he
how good of an interviewer do you think Larry David is? Not Larry David.
Is it the old Larry King?
Larry King.
Yeah.
How great of an interviewer do you think he is? Because if you've ever watched the Larry King interview, that's what he does. He just sits there. It's no banter. It's no riff. He just rifles off a bunch of questions. That nigga is touted as one of the greatest of all time.
But that's also his style. I didn't go to Charlamagne's for his behind the desk style. I've been conditioned to a style of interview that made him legendary.
On the Breakfast Club when there was two other niggas there, right?
And one-on-one that put him in the Hall of Fame. There's a style of interview that he's developed for himself that's put him in the Hall of Fame.
This conversation just goes to show you that Charlamagne isn't the best interviewer that we thought he was. Should Charlamagne even talk to politicians anymore?
No.
I knew you was gonna say that.
You niggas are bugging.
I just posed a question.
But he shouldn't even talk to politicians anymore. It was that bad of an interview.
I think most of them are that bad. I'm standing on that. I'm pretty consistent in that. You don't even have to add. In terms of Charlamagne and politics,
we know you hate.
Y'all know where I'm at.
In terms of like
everything else,
in terms of like
have the convo about
choosing a side, like even Trump said this, like some people don't want to choose a side. I don't get it. Like either choose a side or stop confusing me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like if I feel like you only want to talk to Democrats, then nigga, at least double down on that. Like be a Democrat nigga. But part of me feels like Charlamagne wants to keep some doors open,
or ask him.
So he don't want to,
or be a real person.
It's so weird though, because it's like we don't do this with anybody. We don't do this with anybody. 𝙿𝙾𝚃 is a leftist.
None of us.
We don't go to 𝙿𝙾𝚃 and be like, "Yo, why the fuck you don't interview more Republicans?"
Guess what? He's chose a side.
right.
𝙿𝙾𝚃 chose a side.
Okay,
and that's kind of like the point with That's the point with Charlamagne.
He has, but he refuses to say it.
I want him to talk to more politicians. I want him to be the best nigga to talk to politicians for, because I feel like he's
because
still
if you're gonna be our representative, then you can at least represent us better.
And but
who said that Charlamagne represents them? Charlamagne does not represent me. Does Charlamagne represent you?
He represents you, Tony.
Of course he doesn't.
How does he represent me?
But listen, when ABC calls him, he represents you in that moment, whether you like that or not.
No, he doesn't.
Yes,
he does.
Yes, he does.
Charlamagne represents all black people.
You're black, nigga.
Why?
Because he's been chosen to represent them.
No, I don't.
Yes,
I get what you mean.
Reality.
Like on some just macro symbolic shit. We're talking to a black man, so maybe he feels what every other black man feels.
To a black man in the political space who's
in the Hall of Fame of radio. He's the biggest black broadcaster.
Voice.
But why does that mean that he innately represents you?
Because that's how
he obviously don't represent Jay Nobles.
But exactly. But that's how the outside looks in.
I called you your name.
Right. So like, weird. Like if I go to, like I'm gonna go to Patrick Bet-David because I believe Patrick Bet-David represents all Trump fans. Like that's why I'm picking him to talk to about Trump. So it's like we don't have that choice. It's an unfortunate, but every so often a figure gets put out there, whether you chose him to represent black people or not. That's him.
Every segment of society has a champion. And he's our champion. He's just one of our many champions.
What it is.
Al Sharpton was the old one.
Yes.
Now he's the new one. New and improved, I might say. I like him better. But
you niggas, bro. Al, you could have said Malcolm X. You could have said Martin Luther King.
That's too far back.
Is it? We're talking about black leaders.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also
we're talking about black politics right now.
and
though.
in terms of like being used by like
black
other
leaders
people.
get killed. He's not a black leader.
Well, nobody said that, but just in terms of,
give him a leader at some point. He's somewhat of a black leader.
who?
Charlamagne.
Y'all giving this nigga so many fucking
Definitely a black leader.
knacks on his resume.
He said he's not a black leader. I said Charlamagne is a black leader.
Charlamagne is a black leader.
In a way.
What does that mean, Lauren? What does it mean to be a black leader?
He's a black man in power leading the charge for new
Charlamagne ain't
parts
no
of-
black leader.
What
He's
the
not
hell
no black
is
leader.
50 Cent a black leader? Like, what are we talking
Okay,
about?
maybe not from that perspective of like
I think he's
I'm
looking.
gonna
I think you're looking in the perspective of somebody to look up to for what
That's what
they're
I'm trying to
doing.
say, for
Possibly
like-
like 50 would be like if you're a rapper that wants to transition into other. You know
When
what
I
I mean?
think
In terms of-
black
but
leader, I
I'm
think
talking
like
black
talking
leader.
about like
Fred
you're talking about
Hampton.
like you're talking about
I'm
Fred
thinking
Hampton. No,
Malcolm
he's not
X,
one of those.
like a
No,
legitimate.
no, he's not one of those.
But that's the problem is
But
that like we
that's
look
how-
at a lot of black
that's-
successful people
That's how
as
they-
leaders.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And that's how
Which-
them folks view him. as our
Y'all are
leader.
doing it, but we're upholding it right now. We keep saying he represents us.
He damn sure don't represent me.
But
So no, it's not. When Charlamagne touches a mega platform, a CNN, he's not talking as if he's representing all black people. Okay, semantics. But there's a black guy talking about black issues, and you know a responsible and respectable black man,
And he brings on the black leaders with
and he brings on black leaders.
That's what I'm trying
It's not hard to assume that like he might be speaking for most black niggas. You know what I'm saying? And that's not to say that's his job or that's, you know, he lays back in the bed like, man, I just speak for all black people today.
Yeah, right,
It's a good day
right.
speaking for niggas today. But that probably is what he says, just a little bit.
For sure. Absolutely. Definitely.
Because I just don't want to put it on him because that's some real egotistical shit for me to put on him.
mean, hey, we
I
throwing
would-
a lot of
I
things
would
at
definitely
niggas.
put that
But
on him. He's
at
that
the,
egotistical.
at
for
the
sure.
same time, it's not us doing it, it's them, which makes it
Exactly.
more powerful and prevalent.
Yes.
It's not like we chose Charlamagne, even though we
Right.
fucked with him. It's the people, them people.
Them folk.
So
Yeah.
with that branding, being the leader of black voices, being the orchestrator of them shits, I think it makes perfect sense that when he interviewed Kamala, he let her talk to regular black people.
Of course. I just think, here's my problem with all this. Only a couple problems is that it just wasn't, I don't know, like Charlamagne.
You didn't like the choreography. I,
I
didn't
just
either. It's okay.
I don't know.
I didn't either.
And I don't want to just say
The moves
I don't
were
like
stiff.
Kamala because I kind of don't.
Yeah,
but
we know, yeah.
At the same time, I mean, I don't know.
No pushback, niggas. And especially once the because I don't follow everything Kamala has ever said, so I can't even like justifiably say in certain things like whether he actually gave pushback on, because I didn't hear what the fuck she said the first time.
And another
you know what I'm
thing.
saying? Like I might have heard like the second and third installment, but I don't know what the actual facts of what she said were. But I definitely saw where she said niggas ain't getting no reparations. And then I saw again where she's like, "Well, I never said that," and I'm like, "Hold up."
She goes back and forth often, which is
It's
another
like-
thing.
They all do.
But
yeah, it's
they
like
all do the same thing.
let's just keep it real, but
And another thing,
let's hold her to keeping it real, or at least call it out that she's not that she is flip flopping, and you didn't.
Charlamagne did everything he could, but Kamala just isn't the politician that people want her to be, which is also another part of the problem. It makes everybody's job hard.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
like the person you're interviewing just isn't a good interviewer.
Right.
You feel me? Like Trump is amazing. He's just a regular guy. But we never even listened to any part of this. I don't know if y'all had some timestamps.
There was no part
But
to listen to.
real
honestly.
quick,
well,
Lauren, go
did
to
you
that other video.
timestamp the moment that she got slammed or that he got shut down?
No, I didn't time something.
Did I?
and my bad.
The,
I might have.
The Grigio confusion, yeah. The Griot confusion. You
I did,
timestamp-
yeah.
you timestamped that.
I did.
Yeah.
All right, let's play.
All right.
Could have easily
Jesus.
That
just-
was getting slammed?
No. This is just an example of zero pushback because he offered it up like, "Have you seen it, nigga? You saw it. You could say, Madam Vice President, I saw something."
But that's the thing with bad lobs. He did exactly what he should have did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
These
Like
people said this.
No
Respond
pushback?
to it.
You don't think he's seen that? We've all seen it.
See what again? I forgot what
it
the
was. The whole thing.
context
It was her saying, "I'm not doing anything specifically for black people in reparations." Everybody's seen that.
I think that's something I saw like in print, but I didn't see a video of it.
Oh, we can watch it. Search it. Griot.
I'm not saying it didn't happen. I just
it definitely happened.
I just remember seeing like no jumper
like,
post of fucking.
It's honestly like when you're talking to her, it's like one of the easiest. You know, everybody has like the easiest thing that we can always kind of cook you on because like you just refuse to move your point anyway. That's her thing. That's her thing. Where it's like. We all visually saw you be like, but if you're talking, like in her exact words were, but if you're talking about, well, I do something specifically for black people, no. Like,
and context matters.
Out.
It could have been like specifically for black people. No, I'm out for everybody.
That's
you know what I mean?
That was exactly
the
answer.
Context matters, but she didn't even like handle the question properly.
Right.
She's a politician. She's trained. Is it?
Do you support reparations for black people?
Well, listen. Again, we had over 200 years of slavery. We had Jim Crow for almost a century. We had legalized discrimination, segregation, and now we have segregation and discrimination that is not legal but still exists and is a barrier to progress. We have disparities around housing. We have disparities around education. We have disparities around income. And we have to recognize that everybody did not start out on an equal footing in this country. And in particular, black people have not. And so we have got to recognize that and do something about that and give folks a lift up. That's why, for example, I'm proposing the LIFT Act. Give people who are making $100,000 or less as a family a tax credit, which will benefit and uplift 60% of black families who are in poverty.
So by default, it affects black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans that you would explore.
But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit black children, black families, black homeowners, because the disparities are so significant. So if we focus on the specific issues that have resulted in the greatest disparities, and we understand that that's part of why we're doing it. Yeah. Listen, the reality also is this. Any policy that will benefit black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that.
You niggas ain't getting shit.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people.
There it is right there.
No.
My bad. Go back a little bit.
Because what
right there.
reality also is this. Any policy that will benefit black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No, because whatever benefits that black family will benefit that community and society as a whole and the country. Right?
It sucks.
She's the worst.
I understand what she's saying, though.
Everybody understands.
I understand what she's saying, and it sucks that like America has like racism ingrained in it to the point where she has to do it this way. But she couldn't just go up there and be like, "Yeah, black people are getting this," because that would scare white people. And when you're the president, you can't scare half the country. That's what Trump did. Like,
I think
you can't have half the country divided. So we just
get to sit back and watch you do it for every other group of people.
She could have found a better way to say it, but I think the reason she couldn't was because it didn't come from the heart. She doesn't have like an inclination to do anything for us, which is, I mean, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna get it regardless.
Right.
But it's still
easy fumbles though. But this is the legendary famous footage that like haunts her, because later on she does say yes, that she would. So that like that's the flip flop, but she always fumbles it. But nigga, you offering it up like you haven't even seen it. There's some footage that people are talking about. You haven't seen it? No, you haven't seen it? Nigga, we've all seen it. Like, why are we even offering it to her like this? We could start with, and back on the grill, you said this. You have later said this right here on the Breakfast Club. Where are we at now today? You know what I mean? It could have easily been reframed.
And even it could have been more confrontational.
To where it doesn't just look like I'm just doing whatever I can to help you get out of some hot water and make you just look as good as you can.
And that's the thing. Like,
that might not be confrontational. That's just asking a question.
Oh, yeah,
I
that's
don't
not
mean it's-
confrontational.
Well, no, there's a way to say something to where you're kind of being more confrontational.
Yeah.
And when you, like he did, where it was a little bit more laid back, like this is out there, what do you think?
Yeah, that's just giving somebody the floor to give their.
It's
their
like we
statements.
didn't know this was existed. It was like
Exactly. There's a more
two,
confrontational way of asking the question. If you just are more direct and you're more like, hey, this is what happened. What the fuck did you do?
It's not confrontational.
It's a little bit more of a conversation.
That's just asking
But
a question.
should we-
Well, I mean, you might be getting caught up on the connotation of confrontational. I'm not saying that she felt like she was in danger, but there's a way to ask her. If you,
I get what you're saying,
if
but
you
is
ask
it-
somebody something directly versus indirectly, it's for a reason.
Right,
It's because you
true.
want there to be a little bit of separation in between.
True.
So if you don't want that separation, you're being more confrontational.
True,
It's
but
that
is
simple.
it also fair to ask? It is also
It's argue with Tone Day today. I love it.
But is it also
Keep it
fair
coming,
to ask
nigga.
somebody to keep the same energy? Because he definitely gets it confrontational when there's a Republican up there.
Is it fair? Yeah, I think that is fair.
Yeah, and it's not. It's not even at all.
and even
I
just
think it's fair.
Reach, nigga.
There you go. Groove. Life ain't fair though. But
you're learning.
Fuck it, it's fair.
You're learning.
Everybody's
Nothing from you, but
I hyperextended last week. You going this week? We love it.
no, there's no hyperextension here, nigga.
there is.
I stretch.
Nah.
I warm up.
That's it about it. Let's run through this last topic real quick and let's get out of here because I'm already late.
Nigga, late is an understatement.
It is. I'm supposed